just to let you know I met a gal from old Bordeaux. She had blonde hair and blue eyes too.
Let me ride on the ring-dang-doo, the ring-dang-doo. Now what is that? Soft and round like a pussy cat. Got a hole in the middle and split in two. That's what you call the ring-dang-doo.
I'm vibing to her cellar. Said that it was a mighty fine fellow. Let me wine
Whiskey too. Let me ride on the ring-dang-doo, the ring-dang-doo. Now what is that? Soft and round like a pussy cat. Got a hole in the middle and split in two. That's what you call a ring-dang-doo.
Her father come in, angrily said, now you have lost your
maidenhead.
Pack your bag and coat bags too.
Make your living off the ring-dang-doo, the ring-dang-doo. Now what is that? Soft and round like a pussy cat. Got a hole in the middle and split in two. That's what you call a ring-dang-doo.
She went off to be a whore, hung this sign upon her door.
$1 each and 3 for 2. Take your crack at the ring-dang-doo, the ring-dang-doo. Now what is that? Soft and round like a pussy cat. Got a hole in the middle and it's split in two. And that's what they call a ring-dang-doo.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to have you. Hopefully you're having a good day. I am just getting started, feeling good. My hair is crazy. I filmed a lot yesterday, so my hair was all like pomaded up, and so I was like, okay, I'll rinse it out last night and I will let the hair breathe, which, you know what? It needed to be done, but now my hair is a little crazy because it's trying to recover. There we go. So anyway, but I'm here now. We're rocking and rolling. This is going to be just word of warning, a little bit of a shorter stream. Basically, we're in crunch right now trying to get this God of War Ragnarok critique done. She a big boy. I didn't think she would go and be this big. I didn't think she would go and be this thick, but she do be thick for real. I sat down to record. My plan was to record. Thank you, David, for the membership. 2 months in a row. Dab, 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 as it were. Thank you. Is it going to play the thing? Apparently it doesn't play the thing. Pump for today's stream. Are you going to stream the awards tomorrow? That is the plan. Yes. That is the plan. We're actually going to go through some of the Game Awards nominees and stuff. We're going to make our predictions and everything. So we're going to go through those in just a little bit. Also, apparently, allegedly, they fixed Callisto Protocol. I don't know. But they dropped like a 10.5 gig update yesterday. And a lot of people are saying it fixed the stuttering issues for them on PC. So if we have time, we might pop into that. But like I said, we're going to try to keep this stream a little shorter so I can get back to work on that Ragnarok critique and get it done for you all. That's my goal. Yeah, I sat down to film the critique, and I had my outline, the script, everything like was all there. I prepped it, and I thought I'm gonna sit down around like 11 a.m. and I'm gonna film, and I'll be done by the end of the workday. It came to be 5 p.m. After taking like a 30-minute lunch break. It came to 5 p.m. and I realized I was maybe a quarter to a third of the way through it. Oops. So I will not pretend to know how long this video will end up being. We're doing it in the same style as The Last of Us Part 2 and the Cyberpunk videos, where we go through the whole story and point out some little tidbits. There's some really interesting stuff that we came across while prepping the script for it. Even little details like why that cut in Thor's belly, why that stays through the whole game. Like there's tidbits to that they set up in the original like God of War 2018 from 4 years ago. So like there's a lot of cool stuff we stumbled on that we'll talk about, and I'm excited to just get it done, but it's gonna be a big boy. Kyle, thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Should we be concerned for Jacob? Always be concerned for Jacob. Yeah, he's in the middle of crunch because we also have a handful of other deliverables that we have to get done. So I probably am going to be doing a fair amount of video editing today as well, just so he can focus on that. My goal was to get this Red Dead Redemption video out by Friday, and it would be our Friday upload. But at this point, like, I seriously am not totally sure if we'll be able to pull that off, because it's, man, she meaty. She a meaty girl. Let's see. Junkari P. Just finished my workday. This started at the perfect time. Awesome. Glad to have you. Thanks for coming by. I lost an entire live stream 2 days ago because the internet disconnected while I was playing a game. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that blows. Playing Skyrim while watching. I was actually just before this watching that Lex Friedman interview with Todd Howard that he did. That's like 3 hours long, and I gotta say it's actually pretty interesting. People gave the podcaster and Todd Howard crap because, like, lol, boring. I actually find it really interesting and somewhat motivational. Like, yeah, we all razz Todd Howard a lot, and honestly, he's got it coming. I mean, I have a freaking cardboard cutout of the guy, but he, like, literally did the American dream of a lot of kids. Like, he grew up playing video games, wanting to make them, and then he came out and he said, hey, I want to do that for a living, and he made it happen. He got a job in game development, and he didn't stop there. He climbed the ranks, became one of the most prolific game developers in the world, honestly, probably in all of history, if you look at his work with, like, Fallout 3 and Skyrim. And you know, it's pretty impressive. And what it made me think when I was listening to all of this, like, all of their conversation, was just, it's easy for us to commonly forget that the people we talk about are people, you know, actual human beings. They're not characters in, like, the TV show of life. They're real people. And so, yeah, we gave Todd Howard a lot of crap, deservedly so, I would argue, for basically scamming and delivering a totally broken product to consumers and refusing to acknowledge it in clear terms. You know, there was a lot of problems. I don't think it was all his fault. I think most of it probably lands at the feet of Robert Altman, who unfortunately passed away recently, but he headed up ZeniMax, and he was almost certainly responsible for a lot of the stuff that went down with that in 2018. But when you hear Todd Howard talk on this podcast, it's really fascinating because you just hear his pure passion for gaming. Like, at one point he's asked what his favorite video games of all time are, and he starts describing them, and he's like choking up and tearing up, describing the impact they had on his life. It's like, yeah, that's what gaming's about. That's when gaming is at its peak. And so I'm sure he wasn't thrilled about the Fallout 76 thing. Yeah, he probably got a fat stack from it. You know, I'm sure he probably profited in some way, but you know, at his core, he's a gaming nerd, and he's just wanted to make video games his whole life. And it sounds like Fallout 76 was probably something slightly beyond his control.
16 times the detail.
16 times the detail. Oh, I guess I could show you. So in the God of War critique, I'm going to show off some of the merch stuff that we got. We're kind of limited. Some of the designs are taking a while. So I'm going to reveal, like, the first 2 little drops of themed items, and the other pieces are going to come later. Like, the mouse pad's going to take a little while because we have to, like, ship them from China, and then, like, this is just a Corsair, but it's going to be about this big, and they're going to be cool, but it's just taking longer than I had hoped. So it'll probably be a fresh, like, start of the year thing. But we did a 16 times the detail design, which I actually think it turned out pretty well. And it's just, where's the camera? It's focus. So it's themed around 16 times the detail. It's something like that'll look good on your desk, but people won't immediately know that it's a reference to a meme from a video game creator. So it's, you know, it's nuanced. It's a nuanced reference and meme. But I actually really like the way it turned out. And we also added, hold up. Hold up. You'll see this stuff in the critique too. But we've got like everything from beanies. These are like actually embroidered on here. I like it. I think it looks vaguely like some sort of hipster brand, but in reality, it's a reference to like the creator of a video game and something he said while lying to his customers. But I just like it. I find it funny. So like on the website, we call it the 16 times the detail collection. So like with lemonade. Yes. So I'm enjoying it. Does it have all new lighting and landscaping technology? Probably. Yeah, I'm very pleased with it. And like I told you guys, I've been shopping around for partners to work on with merch for like a year and a half, going on 2 years. I had conference calls. I had 2 or 3 separate three companies send me samples of their products. Most of it was garbage, I'm going to be real. And I just didn't like it. But like the stuff that this company I partnered with has sent is like actually very, very impressive in terms of quality. We've got like, again, the embroidered beanie with the logo on it. We've got these shirts. I didn't want to do anything with like low quality shirts. So like the softness of these is ridiculous. It feels like you're wearing a hug. It's amazing. So I'm very pleased with how it's all turned out. You know, I didn't want to do the crappy merch thing where you come out and you do like, yeah, it's a $7 shirt. I'll make $1.50 on it, and it's going to fall apart after the second time you wear it. Also, don't rinse it in water. It is water soluble. Like, I didn't want to do something like that. You know, hashtag sellout. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I remember watching a Boogie 2988 video back in the day. I wonder if I can find it. Boogie 2988 sellout. It's before he lost all the weight and stuff, and also before he went crazy. Oh, here it is. Here it is. So it was Boogie 9 years ago. Jesus, dude. 2013. That's him back in 2013. This is him now. But 2013, he posted this video. Boogie 29 is a sellout, because basically he said that he was taking sponsorships and stuff. And he's like, so people have said I'm a sellout for this. And that's absolutely true. Like, because he was like, if you're going to tell me and suggest that I would take the platform I've built over years and years of hard work and I would sell it out for a paycheck, you're absolutely right. Yes, that's what this is. We do this for a living.
Are abso-fucking on Facebook, on Twitter, right here on my YouTube comments. People calling me a sellout. And I get an answer to that. If you think that my time and my services are for sale, then you are abso-fucking-lutely correct. Without a doubt. Of course they are. With a catch.
Yeah, see, and I thought that this was like Boogie at his peak. I think actually the story of Boogie is one of like, it's really strange, but I think it's one of, when he was like this, he was married, he was perceived as like a sweet, gentle giant, kind of the grandfather of YouTube. And he was still kind of insecure because he was overweight, he had the bad teeth and stuff. But once he got the weight loss surgery, he lost the weight. Then he got his teeth fixed. He got that fixed. He got divorced. And then all of a sudden he transformed. And people have said, no, he's always been like this. I don't think so. I don't think so. The Boogie that I fell in love with, like back in 2013 in high school and stuff, was not the Boogie that we have now. And it's just really too bad. It's really too bad. He kind of lost himself in the process. And now he does OnlyFans. Yeah, he's like top 7th percentile or something. Which is just... Boogie 2988 is one of the top OnlyFans creators. How amazing is that? No, I do not have plans to make an OnlyFans. Yeah, Hero Brian. He started an OnlyFans like as a joke, and then apparently a lot of people sub to it, and like he makes pretty good money for it. And it's just him like nude in a bathtub, and it's great. It's great. No, I'm talking about you. Sorry, I don't even know what I would do on an OnlyFans. Like, I hate taking selfies. I hate doing all that kind of stuff. So I don't even know what to do. Rocky, I just pulled up Discord. Sorry. I need to change that. Hold on. Startup apps. I have it set to start up on my laptop upstairs, but I don't have Discord set to start up on my main PC, which is stupid. So I'm going to turn that on so I get notified right as I boot up of what's happening. I'm also going to turn off Spotify. I don't use Spotify anymore. Rocky says, so me and Lego Marcus, we're playing Fortnite, and we think it would be a great idea for members only. We can do squads if you want, so us mods can carry you. Dude, it's been so long since I've played Fortnite. You should email Epic Games and ask them to give you the ability to create private matches. Ooh. I like that. Private matches would be cool. We could try that. My thing is blue now. Yeah, Corey, you upgraded. You've evolved like a Pokemon. You've leveled up. I don't play Pokemon. I think it's called evolving. I think. I played... You guys remember... what was that called? It was on Steam. It was like Tam Tum-Tums, something like that. It was like a Pokemon ripoff a few years ago. Temtem. TEM, I think. Something like that. It was, I remember we tried it during like the beta, and it was not the worst thing ever. It was fine, but it wasn't, like, it was super unstable, and it was also toxic as hell. It's evolving. No cap evolves into dead ass. Temtem's great. Hopefully they fixed it. Selling mugs is somehow more dignified than selling used gym shorts. Yeah, dude. For real, if I could, I said this before, if I could sell my bathwater for $2,500 a cup, of course I would do it. Like, you're the weird one for wanting it, but I'd be stupid. I'd be the stupid one if I didn't sell it to you, you know? But the thing is, nobody wants that. But I mean, who knows? Maybe we'd be surprised. Apparently people want to subscribe to a Boogie 2988 OnlyFans. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thunk it? He talked about it for years, though. He was like, maybe for charity we'll raise, like, I remember him talking on a stream in like 2013, 2014. I was still in high school, because I remember I was sitting in my bedroom doing homework when I was watching the stream. But he was streaming, and he said, maybe we'll raise like $500,000 for charity, and then I'll release a sex tape as like a reward for the community for hitting that point. And he's like, but I don't think my wife wants to do it. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of important. She probably doesn't want you going and working with somebody else. Like, you know, I get that, but it was funny. Let's see. Would you put your empty Listerine spray bottles into the merch packages? That I'll sell it with a bag of green beans too. Yeah, that'll be great. I will say, so you guys can go. Hold on, I will put this here also, just so you guys can get dibs on this stuff first if you want to try it. No pressure, of course. But it is here, and the website is working. So technically we haven't launched it yet. We'll announce it during the stream. But that's where the merch is housed. Also, you can click on the background and it does cool stuff like this. See, you're on the merch page. If you click, it generates like little particles, and then they all bind together. This was not something we had to work with the web developers, and it took like 2 weeks for them to inject all this custom code into it. Stupid, yes. Cool, kinda. I'm a fan. It's one of those things, like, did I need to do that? No. Am I glad I did? Yeah, for whatever reason. Just make the Listerine bottles the merch. That would be really tough to explain. Can you imagine I emailed the merch guys? I'm like, so I'm going to send you guys some product that I need you to sell and ship for me. And they're like, okay. What is the product? Is it like stickers or something? No. Everything will be back vacuum sealed. It will be super, super, like, sanitary. They're like, what the fuck are you selling? What? It's just like, well, you know, I take these Listerine sprays and we've decided to sell them. Oh, yeah, big nopes on that, dude. Let's see. Oh god, I'm behind on chat. Where's the line? Where does it stop? Never. Never. I don't know. There's some people that make stupid amounts of money on those OnlyFans things. It's kind of crazy. Glitchy Monkey. Now that Valhalla is available on Steam with a discount, I'm seriously considering buying it, but your critique makes me hesitant. Glitchy Monkey, I think with all of this, like, Valhalla in its entirety, if like evaluated as a broad package, has a lot of problems, and I think we can critique it pretty easily. But playing it for like 30, 40 hours, I really do think you can have a good time. My opinion of Valhalla was like a roller coaster, because initially I was like, ooh, I kind of like this. This is interesting. You know, it's definitely more open world than Assassin's Creed, but you know, it's not the worst thing ever. And over the course of the full like playthrough, it just steadily got worse because it overstayed its welcome. But if you go into the game, and especially if you get it on sale, if you go into the game and you're just like, the moment I'm not having fun, I'm going to stop playing, that's okay. And I think that that's the way to play that game, is to just not approach it like a narrative game you have to finish, but rather approach it as like an open world exploration game that you will eventually get sick of. You just have to wait for whenever that happens. Because like Nikki has been playing it. My wife Nikki has been playing it, and she kind of stopped to go and play some Pokemon, but she started having a really good time. And then as the progression, she reached like 25, 30 hours. And then every hour after that, her opinion dropped steadily of the game. And so I think that's just one of those games that you play for 25 hours and then you walk away and you're just like, you know what? I had a good time. I didn't finish the story, but what I played, I enjoyed. I think that's the way to play it, honestly. And so as long as you do that, that's good. And some people I'm sure will have a higher tolerance than others. I mean, Jor Raptor is still playing that game. Right now, I see on Discord, he says he's streaming Far Cry 6 Lost Between Worlds gameplay. Did you guys see that, by the way? They sent me a code for this. Hold on. This is like actually kind of hilarious. Oh, there's a review up. This is the first 15 minutes of it. And it looks like Fortnite, but Far Cry. Yes, this is Far Cry. I just don't even really know what they're like. Again, it's DLC, so you got to give them a little leeway. If this was in the main entry, we'd have more problems, I think. But like, this is 10 glints. Glints are hidden throughout the rifts. Collect and spend glints to immediately retry rifts when you die. Oh, I don't know. The one thing you can say about Valhalla is they have supported the ever-living crap out of that game. And that you got to give them praise for that. It's been like 2 years and they're still doing expansions, tons of long-term content, dynamic content with like the roguelike version or system that they put in where you go and like fight waves of enemies. Then they did the river raids, which are dynamic and kind of never-ending as far as I can tell. There's a lot of really cool stuff they've done, and you got to praise them for that. But something like this, I don't know. Somebody's playing it. Like, that's the thing with this DLC. Like, people are playing this. Somebody's playing it. I'm not sure who, but so like this looks cool, but it's like it's not really in line with Far Cry. But you know, then again, we can also look at Far Cry and we can be like, well, Far Cry 3 had some wacky DLC as well. Red Dead Redemption had, you know, the undead or Red Undead, whatever it was called. They had that big zombie DLC. So it's quirky. I think it works better. That kind of looks like the Ubisoft logo, actually. I'm glad they're doing this in a DLC and not in the main entry, but still, it just feels so out of place, you know? the Far Cry DLC are becoming less Far Cry. Like, look at that. Yeah, it's tough. I don't want to be like immediately dismissive because it is a DLC, but it does just feel so out of place. It's just like, this is not like anywhere near what anybody thought we were going to be getting for DLC. But you know what? If people have fun with it, props. Just ordered my mug and beanie. Thank you for the awesome merch. Oh, awesome, Imperium. Thank you muchly. Thank you muchly. Appreciate you. Have to let me know what you think of it. I'm pretty proud of it. I'm pretty I again don't want to sell anything that I wouldn't wear or use myself. And you guys will start seeing. I didn't really plan on announcing this today, but then I said 16 times the detail after talking about Todd, and then I was like, I should probably show off the mug, and then, you know, whatever. What are you gonna do? So you're gonna see all of this stuff, and I'm gonna start wearing the merch in all the videos and streams and stuff. So you're gonna see it a lot. And like I said, we have a lot of stuff still coming. I just wanted to get something out there before Christmas, and the rest of it will probably come late December, early January. Everything from mouse pads to unique sticker designs, references to the stream. We're working on a custom design about Cole. Praise be, Queen Nadia. So I told you guys about that design, but it's gonna be pretty cool. We've got some fun stuff coming. Is gray and red the only color for the beanies? Those are the ones that we thought looked the cleanest, but if you have a specific color you think would be good, I can probably make something happen. You know? Can we get a custom design for hashtag pay the mod? Oh, actually, we probably could do custom mod designs. That actually could be cool. What if it was one of those things where it's like a shirt for, I was thinking like, how do we get it so just the mods get it? What if it's a shirt and it just says like, you know, I'm the big mod in charge or whatever it says. And then we list it for like $10,000 a shirt so nobody else buys it. But then the mods have a coupon code for 100% off. That could work. Do you deliver in India? We should be able to. If you check and put your address into the little checkout field, it should tell you what it should be able to do. But they have distribution centers in Europe and Australia, so it shouldn't be that too crazy. Not a Far Cry fan. Haven't seen anything about this, but I feel like you guys are a bit too harsh on it. Many of the best-selling DLCs for games like Far Cry are vertical and don't are whimsical and don't make much sense in the lore. Well, exactly, Vertigo, and that's what I'm trying to maintain a level head with. Like, it's the same thing with the DLC for Assassin's Creed. She was gonna scare me. She thought about it. It's Babe. No baby though, just Babe.
He's upstairs. I need to go hang with him.
Oh yeah.
He's needed a moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's a lot.
I'm so happy.
You're doing great.
Don't know what we're gonna do today. There's so many things.
Yeah.
You're a box hoarder. I'm gonna need you to stop.
Yeah, I just gotta take him out, break him down.
You don't need to do that for like a month.
I know. I stock up on them. That's true. Much love. Goodbye. Does she play any games? Yeah, she's been playing mostly Pokemon in the last like week and a half, 2 weeks. I got her Pokemon Violet, I think it is. But yeah, what I was saying is just I don't want to be dismissive of the DLC just because it is a little wacky, because some of the best DLCs in all of gaming, like I said, the Red Dead Redemption thing or the Red Undead, whatever, that was like really wacky and weird, and it's commonly regarded as one of the best DLCs of all time. So it doesn't mean that it's going to be bad, but it is just, it's a little striking at how much of a departure from the base game it is, which I mean, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. But I think the main reason that people are pointing to this and kind of poking fun is that it's got all of these like shard inspirations, which we've seen it within like Fortnite. We've seen it within like the Avengers game. I don't know what it is, but these like rocky shards have been a point of design consistency for like the last 2 years. It's like, this is the new meta. You put purple shards in your game and that makes it better, I guess, you know? Undead Nightmare, that's what it is. I said shards, not Rocky. Did I say Rocky? Rocky shards? I don't know. What's with these crystals lately? In design, I understand exactly what you mean. Exactly, Bad Dreams. I'm not crazy, right? I don't know. It is funny. Like every 2 to 3 years, we reach a new meta where it feels like, okay, every game is a zombie game, or okay, every game is going to be what is with these screen space reflections? What is that? Why is the water red? And then when you get close to it, it turns blue. That's driving me crazy. What is that? That looks so bad. Why? Like, is the water red or is the water blue? I'm sorry, that breaks my brain. That's making my OCD go crazy. I think it's the screen space reflections are glitching out. So it's red water, but it's reflecting the blue sky, but it instead makes the water look blue. I don't know. That's weird. But anyway. Yeah, every few years they get a new meta. And it feels like right now the meta is purple shards. And who knows what it'll be in a few years. I think like there's usually one big game that comes out that then everybody tries to take inspiration from. And this is probably all going back to Fortnite and some of the stuff they did like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And it's a little frustrating. But what I think, like we said, after Elden Ring came out, everybody's like, okay, we'll just wait for the Elden Ring clones. And sure enough, you better believe there's going to be a Ubisoft Elden Ring clone. There's going to be a couple Bethesda Softworks attempted Elden Ring clones. There's going to be a bunch of like mobile store Elden Ring clones. It's going to be all over the place. It happens. It happens. Hold on. Video Game Chronicle. Try pasting the link. Oh, I did see this. I did see this, Rocky. This is actually really funny. I can pull this up. Hold on. This one actually is pretty funny, guys. It's a story that is just kind of hilarious. What did they give the DLC in their review? Hold on. They gave it a 7. It's good. Okay. Inventive way to cap off Danny's story despite playing it safe in most other ways. Yeah. It's kind of what I would expect. Good, not great. Fine. You know. When's the next review coming? It's the God of War Ragnarok. Oh, review though. That's tricky. It's the God of War Ragnarok critique is the next big one. And that's going to be big. After that, I hope to be covering... The Witcher 3 next gen patch. I hope to be covering the probably the game Blacktail. That's one I've been interested in. I would love to also cover I always forget what its name. High on Life. I really want to cover that. That one's been really hard to get a hold of review codes for, though. I'm just going to keep it real. So that one, I know it's coming day one to Game Pass. That's true. But it would be really nice to be able to do a review of it early. But thoughts on the new Transformers movie? I did not know there was one, so that probably answers your question. Any thoughts on Hogwarts Legacy? It looks good. I saw some leaked gameplay. I mentioned it. It's literally like a 6-second clip, and that's it. Let's see. Did I not save it? I thought I saved it. Maybe I didn't. Did I really not? I could have sworn I did. Yeah, maybe I didn't. Okay, I guess I didn't. But I saw it and it was like one of the characters riding on a big monster, and it was fine. Don't show it. Yeah, well, then they posted a section of it, so I don't know. But I saw it was like 4 seconds long, and it's just like you riding on a mythical monster beast. So it was like, I don't think there was anything that breathtaking about it. People were cheering in the background, so I think it was at a press event. maybe it was like filmed within a development meeting where they were showing off something cool they had done, but I don't know. I don't know. Kyle, I can't think of that game without thinking about the collector's edition. Dude, I started something with that video. Now, every time I look, I'm not, maybe it's not just me. Maybe Reddit also tore him a new one over it. But I was the first one, as far as I'm aware, to post the video making fun of that collector's edition. And now on almost every post that they put out for that game, people are like, lol, but what about the collector's edition, though? And I can't help but feel mildly responsible. If they don't send me a review code just for that, that would actually be kind of hilarious. But I mean, it looks so stupid. I'm not, the reason that video did well is because everybody agrees it looks ridiculous. The meta right now is horror space games, Dead Space, and another game coming out next year. I don't know though, but like that's only 2 games. That's only 2 games. I think like the zombie meta was big for a while. Now, like, and for a while, everybody was trying to copy The Last of Us. And then for a while, people took a ton of inspiration from God of War. I really don't know what the next big meta is going to be. But I mean, that's because, of course, if I knew and I made that game, it would be very, very successful. But it's not that easy to predict it. Playing the Elden Ring update, they add in those Colosseums and you don't get anything for winning matches. Yeah, they're like PvP matches, right? Like it's specifically a PvP update. So if you don't do PvP stuff, you're probably not going to enjoy it, as far as my understanding of it is. The only thing I really want is either a big DLC that adds a ton of new unique bosses or a boss rush mode. If they do that, I'm a happy camper. You can do that with like a mod I saw on PC where you can basically select from a list the different bosses and they'll just load in. And that's pretty cool, but I would love official support on it. That would be sick. I really worry that High on Life might not actually launch on the 13th as it isn't available for purchase on Steam. Weird. Also, little to no advertising. I've noticed that as well. I'm really weirded out by the lack of advertising because it seems like a game that is probably going to do pretty well, but they might just be one of those studios that's like, no, the game is going to be really funny and it's going to go viral on TikTok. So we're just going to not advertise. We're not going to focus on day 1 sales. We're going to focus on like week 1 or week 2, 3, 4 sales. And we're just going to let word of mouth carry it. It's a ballsy strategy, but it might actually work, especially with how weird and crazy that game is. I think it might actually work. And when you look at like a lot of these big games, like I think they said Red Dead Redemption 2, you know, if it costs $200 million to make the game, it would, like, they spent like 150 million on advertising, which is why like it's not just about recovering your production budget, it's also about recovering the marketing budget, and so you've got to make your game pretty successful. You got to sell a lot to pull that off. And so maybe we're going to see something similar. I really don't know. Rhythm Sprout, I don't know what that is. I'm terribly sorry. Do you like reading? I do like reading. Usually nonfiction, though I do go into my ruts where I read the Witcher books and stuff. I've thought about going and trying to read Game of Thrones, but I've been told, or my understanding is that a lot of people think that we'll never see the final book, so I'm kind of worried about starting. Yeah, remakes are currently the meta. Honestly, that might actually be correct, Ryan. It's not that it's zombie games anymore. It's not that it's... Battle Royales were obviously the big one for a while. Everybody thought if you make a Battle Royale, then your game will be super successful. And it's like, not that simple. Not that simple. By the way, everybody, like the stream. Like the stream, it'll help. Also, everybody who's new in here, the link that's pinned in the top of chat, that is for the merch store where we're launching our like 16 times the detail design, along with some basic merch themed around the Luke Stevens logo and everything. So if you want to support the stream, check that out. You know, It's worth checking out. This story, real quick, that Rocky sent me is actually pretty hilarious. I'm gonna show you guys this. Ready for the Yong Yat tidbit of the stream? Watch this. I'm gonna read an article and pass it off as original content. Here we go. Video Games Chronicle. Days Gone director blames middling reviews on, quote, woke reviewers and tech issues. Now, first and foremost, my voice cracked. That's how excited I am to read this. First and foremost, I was actually kind of a fan of Days Gone. If you guys remember, I gave it my game of the year, mainly because I didn't love a lot of the games that launched that year, and also because it was the game I wanted most to see a sequel for. And for that reason, I decided to give it Game of the Year, because I was like, yeah, I want to see a Days Gone 2. Funnily enough, they announced shortly after that they had scrapped all plans for a sequel. I really know how to pick them, folks. I really do. But, yeah, it's like a curse to win my Game of the Year. But I thought the game had an atrocious first half. The pacing was dreadful. It takes you like 2/3 of the game before you find your first horde. And even once you get there, the hordes are really designed as an end game piece of content. Ooh, thank you for the $5, Jazar. Thank you. It's going to play your message real quick.
Jasser Zavizdich donated $5
Jasser.
through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Hey, it's the best YouTuber on the planet. Yang out. LMAO.
Yang out. Thank you, my friend. $5. Very generous. Appreciate you. So the pacing was bad. The fact that like the main selling point for the game were these massive hordes of zombies that you could just plow through, and you didn't even get to see them until like 2/3 of the way through the game. It made it so a lot of people who played the game got halfway through it, put like 10, 20 hours in, and were like, what am I playing? Like, this isn't the game I was promised, and got frustrated and left. I have sneaking suspicions that a lot of people that dropped reviews perhaps didn't finish the game, maybe got halfway, 2/3 of the way through, dropped their reviews, because my understanding is also because this game had technical issues, which is another big problem it had. The review period was pretty narrow, and so some people had to rush. And so I think that there's a combination of things that kind of stacked up into this. I never want to come out outright and say like, oh, this reviewer didn't finish the game before making their review, because of course nobody knows but that reviewer, right? Sometimes there are red flags, though. There's certain things you can pick up on reviews that I've noticed. I've never like come out and outright said. It's usually like the actual big, like IGN, GameSpot, they finish all of it, for the record. But like some smaller websites I've noticed where they say some stuff where they'll mention like, and it's really underwhelming that they don't do like X thing. It's like they do X thing in the final act of the game in the last like 2 hours. So did you forget, or did you just not get to that point in the story? Like those little red flags that you pick up on. So who knows? But anyway, it's beside the point. With all of this, there were a lot of issues with Days Gone, just to be completely honest and completely clear. I still gave it Game of the Year because it was going up against like Death Stranding. And as a matter of principle, I didn't want to give Kojima another award. He has enough. So, but without a doubt, major technical issues, major issues with pacing. There were a lot of problems with Days Gone. That being said, I still enjoyed it. And I thought, on the whole, despite all the problems, one of the most predictable plot twists in recent gaming history. Like, the whole game, I was like, I hope they don't do this thing. That would be so lame. It's just so predictable. And then they end up doing that exact thing. So, yeah, but despite all those problems, I still thought the game was pretty good on the whole. When you looked at the whole game, end game included, and you weighted the end game pretty heavily. However, the director of Days Gone thinks that there was a little bit more to this. So John Garvin, who I believe was the narrative director. I don't think he was the director. I believe he was the narrative director and the writer. But he tweeted his theory in response to fans asking why he thought the post-apocalyptic PS4 game didn't get more praise when it first released back in 2019. He said 3 reasons. 1, it had tech issues like bugs, streaming, and frame rate. Without a doubt, major issue. The game started stuttering bad when you got into busy areas. That's definitely true. 2, it had reviewers who couldn't be bothered to actually play the game. This I find interesting. And it kind of reflects maybe that he had some suspicions like I had that maybe they didn't finish it. Do you know who else is pretty good on the whole? What else is pretty good on the whole? I said who? Freudian slip. Sorry. Sorry. No, other big, just be clear. I'm not talking about any of the big name YouTubers and reviewers. Like SkillUp finishes all the games he plays. ACG finishes all the games he plays. Maddie finishes all the games he plays. Like all those guys, if they say they played the game, they played the game. I'm not doubting that at all. There's a couple other YouTubers that I don't think, and Yong, I tease Yong. I think Yong, if he reviews a game, he finished it, right? But all of that said, there's some more niche creators who I've caught them saying some stuff occasionally where I'm like, I don't think you would have said that if you saw the final 2 hours of the game, you know? Interesting. But anyway, I want to see so badly how it mangles my name. It's Vervin from Twitch. Oh, awesome. Glad to have you, my friend. Good to see you. Yeah, we'll hear what it does. It's going to try to pronounce it. Give it a second. I'll turn up the volume. But anyway, it's interesting that he calls this out specifically and says that he thought reviewers couldn't be arsed to play the game, you know? It's an interesting little reveal.
Salvador Yoret Farina donated £5 through Super Chat.
Yoret
I want to
Farina.
see how badly it mangles my name.
Was that pretty good?
Urban from Twitch, by the way.
It sounded pretty good. I think it actually did it well. Wow. Let's see. It sounded solid. Yeah, that's what I thought. It speaks Spanish. Yeah. Huh. It's learning. Let's see. Get on their ass for not finishing the game. Well, the problem is that I don't know clearly. There's no clear evidence. If they say something like, what would be an example of this? What would be a really clear example of this? See, it's hard to come up even with an example of a slip they could make in the review that would betray that they didn't actually finish the game. Maybe it would be like a Red Dead Redemption 2 review where they mention or they heavily imply, but even that, if they heavily imply, then they have plausible deniability. It would be like a Red Dead Redemption review where they just come out and say Arthur lives happily ever after and John Marston disappears towards the end of the story and we don't know where he went. That would be a red flag, because that would be no, there's an epilogue where you spend 10 hours playing as John. We know exactly what happened to him and where he went. That's not true. And we know that's not true. So it would be something like that. But that's such an egregious reveal and statement that any of these guys that are moderately sophisticated, I don't think would make that oopsie if they knew that they were trying to obfuscate the fact that they didn't finish it, you know? So what you'll notice, as far as I can tell, is when people haven't actually finished the game before a review, they will speak very vaguely. In the videos I've seen where I'm suspicious of it, they will say stuff like, I'm not going to show you footage beyond an hour and a half or 2 hours into the game to protect you from spoilers. That might be true, but it's also really convenient that they don't have to show you footage from later in the game, right? So that's very interesting. And you should always be suspicious when it's coming from somebody who is extremely negative towards a game or cynical towards a game before it launched, and then they come out, review it, and they drop a really negative review. No, these are the things that kind of set up the alarms. But yeah, it's just really, really, really tough to state clearly because like anybody who made the big oopsie and like let it slip would immediately get caught. And everybody would be like, that's not true at all. Like, what? You know? So, or like if they said at the end of The Last of Us Part 2, like, and it's really satisfying when Ellie finally kills Abby. It's like, well, that didn't happen, so I think you're full of it. But like they would never say that, right? So it's always just suspicion. I think it will always be suspicion. But I've noticed it a handful of times, and it kind of drives me a little crazy. Marin, thank you for that. It's gonna read your message in a second. I'll let it do its thing, because the second I start reading it, it's gonna trigger and do it. See.
Marin H donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you, very generous.
I enjoy your overly long critiques. Open mouth smile. Felt I should contribute after consuming so
Open
many
mouth smile.
hours of them.
Thank you, my friend. That is very generous. That is very generous. I appreciate you. $10 is more than you needed to. That's very, very kind. But thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy them, and you will probably enjoy this big God of War Ragnarok critique because it's gonna be a meaty boy. Way bigger than I expected. That's what she said. Also, my favorites. Thank you for the $1.99. Really enjoy your content on the whole. No cap. Dead ass. Dead ass. We're trying to use streamer lingo, by the way, everybody. Because that's like, I've noticed all the big streamers talk about like finna bussin' and no cap, dead ass. So we're trying to be hip with the lingo. So hopefully you all understand. Wow, a diss and a compliment. Overly long. Some things can be overly long. I'm told. I've heard. Not to me. I haven't heard it. Okay, anyway. So then he lastly says, other than people who couldn't be bothered to play the game, 3, it had woke reviewers who couldn't handle a gruff white biker looking at his date's ass. So, and then they go on to define woke. Woke is a term that originally referred to those aware of social injustices such as racism, sexism, and other forms of discrimination. In recent times, however, it's been adopted as a catch-all term by right-leaning people to refer to those who favor progressive political ideas. This is actually a very accurate description. I'm actually kind of impressed. Video Games Chronicle has got it. Actually, the Republican Party here in the States was actually just recently forced to define the term woke, because in Florida, there was a lawsuit that Ron DeSantis, the governor, filed specifically to keep like woke people out of schools. And so the judge was like, if you're going to say that, you have to define what woke means. And so he's like, okay. And they filed the paperwork saying that woke refers to people who believe there are injustices endemic in America that are like structural in nature. So this is actually pretty close and pretty accurate, but especially right now it's been kind of turned into just a catch-all. Like if you have like a black protagonist, then you're woke. If you like call out something problematic, then you're woke, you know, that kind of thing. Thank you, Bob. You guys are popping off with the donos. Thank you so much. Very generous.
Bob donated £5
Bob.
through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Hey Luke, are you into CRPGs and exited for Baldur's Gate 3? It's kind of insane. It's coming out next year. 2023 is insane.
For real. I do really like those games. I really like I'm one of the, like, I tried the Baldur's Gate 3 early access thing. I thought it looks great. It plays really solidly. But when I found out that a lot of the like save progression is going to be lost, I just stopped playing, and I was like, okay, I'll get back to it later. Divinity Original Sin 2 is also tremendous. And the fact that it's on like Switch and Steam Deck, it's great. I love it. That's a tremendous game. More people should play it. It's a little daunting. I think I heard, I don't know if it was Maddie who said it or somebody else that Maddie quoted, but I remember seeing it in a Maddie video where he said Divinity Original Sin 2 is the best game I haven't finished. And I thought that was actually pretty accurate because I know a lot of people who started Divinity who talk really, really highly of it, but haven't finished it, you know? February 2023 seems like hell. Way too much stuff launching. It's going to be pretty chaotic. There might be some last minute delays, but as far as I'm aware, most of that stuff is sticking to that date. Because all these studios are just like, we delayed all through COVID. We just need to get this out the door. Come on. I need your help the other day. I tried changing my PS4 external drive from a USB stick to a hard drive. It mostly went okay, but ever since my controller has been spazzing out. That's really weird. I will be honest, I have no idea. We had a power surge in our house, and I woke up at like 6 a.m. with the speakers in the living room for the projector. The speakers for the surround sound were just emitting a high-pitched ee loudly. The cats were freaking out, and it's because the power surge fried the little amplifier, which
Matthew Marso
sucks.
donated $9.99.
Thank you, very
through Super
generous.
Chat. Super hype for the critique of Ragnarok.
Dab dab.
Just about to start the final act. I don't want it to end, so I'm pushing it off until finals end. Love the content, my guy.
Awesome, Matthew. Thank you again. Very generous of you. $9.99. You're too kind. And also, yeah, I totally get the feeling for not wanting it to end. I finished it, and then I went and I grinded out all the Muspelheim challenges. I went and I like took on the Valkyrie Queen. Like I did all the side content I could do. Tried to collect as much armor as I could. There's so much there. I do regret not doing some of it sooner for reasons that I will mention later, but still. I fell asleep with YouTube on last night and it screen burned my Tab S7. Oh, that sucks. Oh, that blows. Yeah, I've waited to watch any reviews so I can watch Luke's. Oh, that's very generous. Bad review or bad dreams, not bad reviews. Bad dreams. You can tell the disparity between the mods. Rocky is in the basement without food, and Luke is feeding me like a king in the guest house. Legit, just cooked me a steak and green beans. Yeah, and I got you the Listerine spray to help clear out, help clear out the green bean breath. Elden Ring is dope. Replayability just kind of meh because I put 150 hours into first and only playthrough. I think like Elden Ring is one of those games that we will play the crap out of, like maybe once a year or once every 2 years. I agree. Once you've gone through it the first time, the second time isn't going to be the same, but it's, I don't know, there's just so much there. But I kind of ran into it where I was kind of burnt out by the time I finished it. I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. You know, I feel like I've reached my limit. Well, what are you going to do? It's got a 71 on Metacritic. PS4 consoles such as Ghost of Tsushima earning an 83. This is funny to me. Ghost of Tsushima, people talk about it way higher than like an 83 on Metacritic. But it just goes to show you sometimes the reviewers and the audience isn't directly in line. Days Gone has a huge fan base despite being a 71. And Ghost of Tsushima as well has a huge fan base. And like if you ever want to just look at the flukes involved in all of this, just look at Deathloop. Deathloop received more 10 out of 10s than you can shake a stick at. And almost every single person on the planet agrees that was a little wacky. That was a little much. It's like, did it deserve that? I don't know. I don't know. Thank you, Samurai King. Boom.
Samurai King donated 25 United Arab Emirates dirhams through Super Chat.
Ooh.
I fed some crows. Do you think we'll see any Starfield news tomorrow?
I have been wondering that actually. I was trying to look at the tweets from Geoff Keighley, or as we call him here on the Luke Stevens live channel, Geoff Keighley. And he has been very, very like, I don't know, he's been kind of weird this year. The Dorito Pope. Peace to him. He is, praise to the burrito Dorito Pope. I think we have the Dorito Pope emote in chat, don't we? Yes, we do. Dorito Pope. There we go. So, like, I don't know. He's been really weird. He said stuff like, oh, it's going to be a much shorter show this year. It's going to be a much smaller show, much more intimate, whatever that means. He has said that he's got a few big reveals that he hasn't wanted to leak yet. And they haven't been ready, but they've been in the process for years, which is interesting. So I really don't know. Did it trigger for the dono either? Oh, that's so weird. I don't know why this is so inconsistent. Thomas, thank you, my friend. I got member perks now. 1 month member. Am I now part of the Cool Kids Club? Hell yeah. Hells yeah. Welcome. Now it triggers the I don't know what's happening. Oh, the alert box is behind. Hold on.
Salvador Yoret Farina donated £5 through Super Chat.
Thank you
Can you use your
again.
fame to find any information on Bloodlines 2? 18 plus years is a long wait for a sequel.
You're not wrong. I could send some emails. I could send some emails. Try to get that. Let's see. Geoff Keighley is always very weird every year. Dude can't present to save his life. Everybody has started to say this now too. I'm so glad people are saying it. I think he's done great things for the industry. We tease him for being the Dorito Pope because everything he does is filled with advertisements. He has gotten a fat bag as a result of his work in this. But you know what? I have no problem, unlike some people, I have no problem with you becoming viciously rich if you're good at what you do. I think that, props to you. Props. If you want to take me out to dinner, that's even better. But you know what? Props. But despite all of his talents, all of his charisma, I didn't mean to laugh. Charisma. Geoff Keighley is objectively, and I'm not saying subjectively, it's not my opinion. We can demonstrate statistically and empirically he is bad at presenting. He's just not good on stage. And yet he forces himself to be on stage all the time. And it's because he likes to be the center of attention. I can't blame him. I'm a freaking YouTuber. I'm like the worst person to possibly talk about this. But what I do know is that he has a lot of people who would be amazing as presenters. He could bring on all sorts of content creators. They could do it like the Oscars or the Golden Globes back when Ricky Gervais did it. They could bring on like Jacksepticeye or Markiplier to just present the whole show. That would make the show so much better. It would be ridiculous. So much better. Have Geoff Keighley come out. He can present Game of the Year if it makes him feel happy. Do that. But at some point, he needs to acknowledge and accept that he is not the best presenter for the show and that the show could be a lot better if he gave it over to people who are talented at presenting and being in front of an audience. He's just not that guy. Honestly, it's kind of amazing the show has gotten as far as it has with how rough his presentation skills are. Look at my hair. What is this? Dude. He just can't do the whole thing. He ain't a natural born showman. He's no Hugh Jackman. Yeah. He is no Hugh Jackman. You're damn right. I went to that Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman went on like a whole global tour where he did musical bits from the shows he's been in, and he danced and sang and just showed off for like 2 hours. And he came to Denver, and I went to see the show. And every time I go to an event like that, I get usually like a hoodie because I like hoodies. By the way, this one's more minimalistic, but it's a 16 times the detail hoodie. If you choose to represent with just a really nice high quality hoodie with a 16 times the detail design. But check it out at LukeStevensTV.com, pinned in the chat. But I usually get hoodies at these events, and I decided to get a Hugh Jackman hoodie, and I didn't really look at it before I bought it for like $20. And I went home, I looked at it, and it was like, it was pretty aggressively Hugh Jackman. Hold on, Hugh Jackman hoodie. Oh God, I shouldn't have Googled this. I'm going to get the weirdest ads now. Where's the concert one? Hold on, maybe I can find it. Concert merch. No, none of these were it. It had a huge thing. Yeah, it was like this. It was like this, but it was a hoodie. And it had this on the back of it. And I didn't really look at it before I got it, but I had this stretched across the back of the shirt. I wore it to the gym. I wore it to the gym. And after the gym, we went to Mod Pizza, a restaurant, with my college buddies to eat after we worked out. And at the gym and at the restaurant, I was hit on by two separate men who saw the hoodie and tried to like spark up a conversation about Hugh Jackman. They're like, I was at the concert. Wasn't he amazing? I'm like, yeah. Can I get your number maybe? Like, no straight man would wear this. Like, come on. I was very flattered. But I was like, okay, well, maybe buying this was a mistake as a a straight man in a committed relationship. Maybe this was a mistake. It was just like, I don't know what it is. Wearing a Hugh Jackman hoodie is just like a calling card for single gay men to come and find you. And I was surprised, you know. What are you gonna do? You know, again, very flattered, but I was just surprised. Like, I wore it, and then we went to the gym, get hit on, went to the restaurant afterwards, got hit on. I was like, this thing is it's a magnet. Like, if I, in another life, this would be like my greatest superpower, was wearing that hoodie. Just attracts male attention, I suppose. It's a dick magnet. Yeah, exactly. Solidify. I can do that. Sorry, guys. Rocky is overwhelmed by how active you guys are. Oh, dude, we're on a 5-second. Let me set it to 4. Maybe it needs to be reset. We'll try that. Sorry, Rocky got overwhelmed. Rocky, you know, sometimes Rocky needs help. Sometimes he just can't keep up. But you know what? We're glad. Everybody, let's give Rocky some support. Everybody, some love to Rocky, because it sounds like Rocky needs it. It's okay, Rocky. You'll get through it. Renier, do you think that games exclusivity is part of the game, or a necessary part of the games industry? I don't know if it's necessary, but it's entrenched now. Like, there's no getting rid of it. You know, this is one of those things that, it's like that guy that came into chat last week and started just, like, he was trying to make everybody out to be bad people for engaging in capitalism. And, like, I was trying to tell people, if you want to be rich and if you want money, you shouldn't hate money and you shouldn't hate rich people and talk about them like they're all Cruella de Vil. I was like, because why, if you hate something, why should you be upset that you don't have any of it? Like, of course you'll never have it. And if you hate rich people, you shouldn't be surprised when you never become one of them. When secretly everybody wants more money. Like, let's be real. And so my whole thing was like, you can hate the process. Like, you can hate the game, but don't hate the gamer. You can hate the rules of the game, but if you want to win, you got to play by the rules. That's just what it is. So at some point it was just like, I don't know if this is, if we're being practical, you know? You know, we at some point we just have to be pragmatic about it, you know? We must break down the system to rebuild it. Well, it was also funny because I was like, if you want to break down capitalism, you need like political power, for example. In order to gain political power, you're going to need money. So in order to break the system, you're going to have to climb the ranks of the system and understand it and play the game better than anybody else. So like, if you want to end the game, you got to beat the game. You can't just sit on the sidelines and be like, no, this sucks. This is stupid. It's like, that's not, it doesn't work that way. Just, you're going to get nowhere, you know? So I was like, either way, even with your goal, your stated goal, you're not going to get there unless you play the game that you assert that you hate. But what are you going to do? I made it to another live stream. Yes, Jay, I'm glad you made it. Oh boy, I sure do love me some Batman. This means I can be Batman now, right? Oh, always, Vlada. A Batman. Luke, would you chrome up if cyberware was a thing? Yeah. No, I've said before, say this neural link that Elon Musk is working on, if Elon Musk came out and was like, oh, the Neuralink thing now makes it so you don't have to sleep. You get the implant, your body doesn't need sleep anymore. It can regulate naturally, whatever, with the help of this thing. So maybe not naturally, but they're like, yeah, no, that's what we're able to do. And it's like $5,000. If that were the case, I would get it. Especially if like it had passed FDA approval and like whatever health guidance, and doctors were confident that it was safe. I would get it. Like first batch, sure. But a lot of people are like, no, I would never want to do that. I would never want to. I'm like, if the benefit is even if I slept half as much, that would be amazing. Like you're talking about like a third of your life you spend sleeping, a third you spend working, and a third you spend with friends and family doing things you like. Also, like if you can split that third in a half and get that time back, or if you can just get rid of that third for sleeping and add that to the third of you doing things you like, the world would change. Like everything would change. Yeah, the quality control of Tesla and Elon's products is in question. I absolutely agree. Sleep cycle is essential to species like, well, right now, Corey, absolutely. But the whole idea is that if you can shake it up, and if there's some way, like we're talking hypotheticals in the future, like if there's some sort of cybernetic implant you can get that eliminates the need for sleep, I would greatly want that. Same thing with like, I heard a really interesting statement from Elon about the Tesla cyber bot Android thing. Hold on, is it just the Tesla bot? Is that what they call it? I think it's just the Tesla bot, but it's the Optimus. That's what they call it. Hold on, let me pull up a picture of what they want it to look like. The actual reveal was pretty underwhelming, for a handful of reasons, but this is what they want it to be. But what Elon said about it, he was like, so right now the biggest limitation within our economy is people not wanting to do like manual labor, dangerous labor, and repetitious labor. So like working in warehouses, working out in fields, doing manual labor, construction sites, trucking, things like that. He's like, those types of activities are not specialized. They don't really require advanced intelligence. They just require something that understands the process you're doing and can repeat it reliably. So he's like, that's the perfect job for an android. And he's like, if we got to the point where we have, they have a pup. That's cringe. Dude, they have a guy in a puppet suit. That was a weird choice. But what he said was, if you get to the point where you can have a technically endless supply of manual laborers, everything will pretty much take off. Because like GDP is calculated, like you're talking about the gross domestic product of the country, and then usually you'd like divide that by per capita, so GDP per capita, blah blah blah. If you eliminate the capita because there's just an endless number of workers because they're all Tesla bots and androids, there technically isn't an end to the GDP capacity that you could calculate, right? And that's true. Like if you got rid of the need for the workforce and labor because you just have unlimited labor, there's no limit to what you could do. You could have an army of 10,000 of these things working in mines to collect the metals to build more of them. Like there's no limit. Yeah, because it's Elon, he said that he built it they're building it 5'8", 125 pounds is the goal weight, specifically because they want to make sure that it's smaller than the average adult. So if an adult needed to like push it over or needed to do something to basically like prevent it from causing issues, then they could do that. They don't want it to be bigger. They don't want to make like a big 50-foot tall version of it, but you know, eventually they'll do it. It's the whole thing. Like if you guys saw iRobot back in the day with Will Smith, that movie slaps. I'm not going to make the obvious joke, but I definitely meant to say slapped. But that movie's great. And it's great for a number of reasons, but I think that version of the future is very, very real. I'm honestly shocked that more companies aren't chasing this tech. Apple, I think, maybe they're working on it very early on, but this would be a slam dunk if Apple revealed like the Apple Bot and it was just a team that or it was just a robot similar to this that Apple produces for like 10 grand or 20 grand. You buy it and it's just like it does all of your house chores, it cleans for you, it can go shopping for you, it can do all of it. It would change everybody's life, I think, in a really good way. A really good way. Like if you played Detroit Become Human, that also is a great example of how this could change. This robot's going to take my job. Well, that was the other thing Elon talked about. Elon was like, right now, everybody says that like a universal basic income doesn't make sense because the money has to come from somewhere. And so other people's labor would be used to generate the money for somebody else's universal income who isn't laboring, right? But he said, if you eliminate that consideration and the labor can be replaced with androids, then there's like that equation isn't a problem anymore because you've been replaced in the workplace by an android. And so you can get a universal basic income. So there would be, he said, like, as these types of things are developed, there will have to be lobbying in Congress and there will be policy changes needed to be made in order to protect the citizens. Because let's be real, not everybody is going to be an AI engineer. And pretty quickly, we're reaching the point where AI is starting to get to the point where it can code for itself, which is kind of wacky. Oh, Rad, don't worry. Hopefully the class went well. How long until somebody marries one, though? Like Chuck AI, there's one writes, try to marry one. Well, there was that one guy who married like a mobile app. You guys remember that? Man marries mobile app. Man marries smartphone at Vegas wedding. This is America. Oh, God.
Smartphone, it's Las Vegas.
At first it was like, what? And then it was like, all right, let's do it.
It all went down at the Little Vegas
What a story. At first it was like, what? And then it was like, let's do it.
Chapel, run by owner Michael Kelly.
We don't really have many people that marry like inanimate objects.
Making Aaron Shervanak one of a kind. He drove all the way from Los Angeles to marry the love of his life.
Is this guy this weird, actually? He seems like this is a good-looking dude. This is a good-looking dude. He could get an actual girl.
With this ring, I thee wed.
He's doing this for attention to get on TV. There's no way this is real.
I promise to love you. I promise to love you.
And cherish
Cap.
you
And cherish you.
all the days of my life.
All the days of my life.
They say the course of true love never did run smooth, but with the latest phone technology, a perfect connection isn't out of reach.
The big question, is this true love?
The way people treat their cell phones now, it probably was true love, I'm not gonna lie.
That's real love right there. That's real love.
You can marry objects now? I didn't know that was possible.
Anything can happen in
It's Vegas. Of course you can.
Vegas, you know?
Michael Kelly tells us Aaron simply wanted to send a message to society.
Oh, see, yeah. It's a freaking art piece. Like, he's not actually saying this. He's doing a demonstration.
Connected to their phones, and they live with them all the time. They're with them 24 hours a day. They go to sleep with their cell phone. They wake up with their cell phone. Sometimes it's the first thing that they check.
Sounds like marriage to me.
I think he wanted to explore that. Can technology become human?
The marriage isn't legally recognized by the state of Nevada.
Not yet. We'll get there.
But there
Let's make a better tomorrow today.
There is no commitment ceremony the Little Vegas Chapel will deny. I'm Michael Burton, 13 Action News.
Dude, Vegas is such a weird place. It's so weird. It doesn't make any sense. It's just wacky. Anyway, 2016, June 25th, 2016 is when that was posted. Oh man. That's so weird. Okay, let's talk real quick about the Game Awards, I guess, because that's coming up tomorrow, actually. Like I was saying, so Geoff Keighley, Geoff Keighley, I kind of like more. He has said that they are going to have a shorter show this year. It's going to probably be like an hour to an hour and a half, which is different. I think last year was like 2.5 hours. Am I crazy? I think it was like 2.5 hours. It was a long show filled with all sorts of advertisements. Pretty cringy, to be completely honest, but it's whatever. I don't know. He went on to say that they have some big announcements, but definitely less than they've had previously. There's a few big ones that he's excited to show, and he said that they are there's a few games. What he said was there's a few games that he's been waiting years to reveal, and they're finally ready. What that means, I'm not sure. The studios he seems closest to would be like Kojima Productions. I could totally see if you think like, okay, Kojima probably began development on his next game in 2019 after Death Stranding released a few years ago, 2019, ready now for reveal. It could be Kojima's next game. So I think we'll probably see something from Kojima if I had to bet. It's going to be his new whatever thing with the actress who plays Mama in Death Stranding. I think we'll probably see a new trailer for Hogwarts Legacy. I would be shocked if we didn't see anything from it. Somebody asked earlier if we would see Starfield. I really am not sure. I think Bethesda's like BGS is big enough they could just do their own event, and I think Xbox would be happy to do that. But then again, Xbox might just be like, oh, we want our big reveal at the show to be Starfield with like a clear release date announcement and more gameplay or something. So they could totally do that. Let's all take bets. What do you think, like Hound is saying, what do you guys think is going to be the big surprise reveal that nobody's going to see coming? Like, what's the thing that when it happens, we're all like, oh, no way? Or will there not be anything like that? Will there be a watch party? Yeah, no, we'll do a watch party. Kerbal Space Program 2. Infamous 3, that would be very interesting. I was thinking maybe we see Injustice 3, actually. Maybe. Because it's been a minute. GTA 6. Kanye hosts. That would get the reaction. I'll give him that. A Naughty Dog game. I don't know. I mean, honestly, it's not the craziest thing to think that maybe they come and they show off more of the multiplayer game. Maybe. I don't know. But then again, PlayStation could probably justify their own show. But then again, like, people forget just how big the Game Awards are. Hold on. The Game Awards viewership. Statista. Allow cookies. Yes. Look at this. Number of live stream viewers of the Game Awards worldwide from 2014 to 2021. 2014, 1.9 million. 2015, 2.3. 2016, 3.8. 2017, 11.5. 2018, 26.6 million people. Next year in 2019, 45 million. 2020, 83 million. 2021, 85 million. I would guess they probably break 90 million this year. Especially because like last year there weren't a lot of like huge big name games that were competing. This year we've got Elden Ring going up against God of War. There's already some bad blood going on. God of War, I woke up this morning, saw on Twitter, they're having a bunch of people like review bomb God of War Ragnarok on Metacritic as if that's going to do something. So they'll break 100 mil. They might. I think they stagnated here. I mean, you see the exponential growth and then they stagnated in 2021. I think that this is mostly because, I would guess, just because there weren't a lot of huge games in 2021 on the scale of like Elden Ring, that would really draw the numbers in. But it's going to be big. It's going to be big. So you think about this. I mean, if you reveal the next like Naughty Dog game at the Game Awards and there's 100 million total people that are going to see it, that's a pretty good advertisement, especially because I would guess that if Naughty Dog called Geoff Keighley, and told him, hey, Dorito Pope, we want to reveal like the Last of Us factions. We're going to do a big gameplay reveal. It's going to be badass. He is going to give them a wide spot, and it's going to be easy peasy. Like, they're not going to have to pay for it. I don't think they'd have to pay for it, at least. And they'll just get all that exposure for nothing. So as easy as it is for us to say, well, they'll just do their own show. Like, their own show is going to cost money, and even then they probably aren't going to get the reach that this show has. So, you know, I think it might be better to just do it this way. Mass Effect is a great guess. That would be a very surprising thing if they came out and EA did that. EA hasn't really had any big announcements. Well, I guess they do. They're the ones behind the Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So I guess they do have some big games coming. I mean, I would not be shocked if we saw some stuff about Jedi Survivor. We saw like some gameplay or something. Morbius, it's Morbin time. Square is planning on a new MMORPG. Yeah, that one surprised me. Gotham Knights Season Pass announcement. Even more stuttering FBF shops before. We know what you like. We know what you want. More stuttering. Yay. They're just like, well, we did a search on Google Trends of the most relevant keywords associated with our game. Seems like most of our players are very interested in frame drops and stuttering and technical issues. So we decided to just make an entire DLC of nothing but that. Honestly, that would actually be kind of a fun art piece to do and like reveal or release on Steam. For like $5, you release a game that's just built to be as broken as possible. You launch it and it just stutters at like 1 frame a second, and then it deletes your progress constantly and all that. And it's like an art piece as a commentary on why people will still buy broken games. You know, there could be a whole thing like that. That could be kind of interesting. Luke, I need your help. I just bought The Witcher 3, but I'm not sure if I need the complete edition or not for the update. My understanding is that if you own the game, you'll get the update. I don't think you need the complete edition, but I do not know for certain. But what I've heard is if you like the update is coming to everybody who currently owns the game or already owns the game. So I would guess you're probably good. I know the update also applies to the DLC, but you know, I really don't know. But I would guess you're fine. Maybe we'll see some gameplay for AC Mirage. Maybe. Like, if we don't see any AC Mirage at this, I am going full, like, I'll be full freak out level because I don't know what the hell they're doing if they still don't have gameplay to show. Like, what are they doing? The game is supposedly like 2 months away, maybe 3 or 4 months away. Like, come on. Elden Ring just got a huge PvP update today. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. I have not tried it. Maybe I'll try it in between finishing this God of War video. Total War Medieval 3. Oh, God, yes. EA Black Panther game and Jedi Survivor is pretty much confirmed, right? Yeah, Jedi Survivor is a thing. They technically announced it already, but I think we'll see. Or if you mean maybe you mean like it's confirmed to be at the show. I think so. I mean, they have to show it off. I think it is pretty much all but confirmed to be at the show. Mirage is a psyop by Ubisoft as they make another fantasy RPG. That would be really funny. Didn't Mirage get delayed? It did get delayed, but it's like still, I just don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, they should have gameplay to show by now. It's very strange they haven't shown anything. Oh, it's rumored to be internally delayed to August of next year. That could explain why we're not seeing it. But even then, like a year out, you should have like an alpha or a beta section of the game that you could record and show people. Like, surely. Come off it. Half-Life 3 would be the biggest reveal surprise. That would actually be pretty amazing. but I don't think we'll see that, unfortunately. What's my vote for game of the year? Well, Ropesy, I'm going to do a video where I reveal my pick for game of the year. I'm going back and forth. It's so close. Like, Elden Ring is tremendous, and I put so many hours into Elden Ring. It's crazy. Certainly the game I've played most this year. I just think that it's great. And I haven't had that easy of a time getting into a game in a while. It's really remarkable. But at the same time, God of War Ragnarok is everything I wanted it to be and then some. It is narratively tremendous. It's graphically beautiful. Everything about it. So both, I think, are easily winners. They're winners in my book. But I don't know. God of War is better, but Elden Ring had a bigger impact on gaming culture. That's true. Well, and I have to say, like, the PC port of Elden Ring was basically broken on launch. I hate to be that guy, but in a game built around quick timings, to have major frame stutters on launch day is a problem. If we're going to penalize Callisto Protocol for it, we have to also penalize Elden Ring for it. I hate to be the guy who's consistent, but we got to call it out for the issue, right? And that was a big problem. People forget because the rest of the game was so good, but that's a problem. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but it was so bad that, like, you couldn't fight most bosses until you went through it and died maybe 2-3 times as the shaders compiled when you walked into an arena for the first time. And that's a problem. All these are true, but Stray has a cute ginger cat. That's true. That's true. FromSoft always gets passes on graphics and performance. Yeah, they definitely do, and it's really frustrating because those games, like, graphically, yeah, the game's graphics aren't that crucial. I also have said before, I think the art direction in Elden Ring is really impressive, and the consistency of bosses from level to level and arena to arena is really impressive because it feels like the bosses are a natural, like they tie into the same world, which is not easy to do, but graphically, like in terms of what they're actually putting on screen, it's not the most impressive game by a long shot that released this year. I think even like Plague Tale Requiem did things that were more graphically impressive than Elden Ring, but of course they're very, very different games. Same with like God of War. Comparing God of War and Elden Ring is apples and oranges. They're just totally different. So, it's not the biggest deal. What I do think at some point people have to call FromSoft on, and we gotta give them crap for, is like the 60 FPS cap on PC is ridiculous. For a game like that, it is stupid to still be capped at 60 FPS, even running a 4090 and running your PC on jet fuel and Gorilla Cum. Like, that game being capped at 60 is a travesty. And it's an engine issue apparently, but it's not my problem. Like, figure it out. You can always mod it, but still, it'd be nice to have it native. Well, and just the fact, like, there are mods. Why has that not been a thing officially from them? You know? I feel like if God of War Ragnarok released on more platforms, people would support its Game of the Year chances more. Some don't support it because they could not play it. Yeah, and, like, also, can we have that on a shirt, Jet Fuel and Gorilla Con? Maybe. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. Terribly sorry. Elden Ring's animations tied to frame rate, though. Well, they are, but apparently there are mods that can get it running above 60 anyways on PC. So the modders have figured out how to do it. Ragnarok on PC is going to be graphically insane. Just watch. It already is pretty graphically impressive. I think in terms of things they could improve, screen space reflection, or the ray trace reflections on water and stuff would be nice to have, and maybe ray trace shadows, but I think that's the main thing they could add. Ray tracing and everything else I think is pretty much at its peak. There are limits within Elden Ring. The FOV being so tight, that's a gameplay thing. They can't just change that as a setting because it's all tied to the one cut or the no cut camera, and it's not that easy to just make the FOV wider in a game like that. But it's, yeah, that FOV, man, it's tight. It's tight. She tight. Lego God of War, that would actually be pretty great. Do you play Destiny 2? Not really. I thought about getting it, but then people in chat were like, you're going to lose your life or you're going to hate it. So maybe wait. And so I waited. I'm procrastinating. I find it weird that Modern Warfare 2 and all the CODs can run at frame rates like 200 plus, but the reload animations are all in 30 FPS. It looks so janky. That is weird. I mean, it's like you're suggesting that Activision Blizzard provides products of inconsistent quality. Okay, guy, weirdo. I have a sickness, and the only cure, the only prescription, are more purple crystals. So, Luke, will you play more Star Citizen with the 3.8 patch and wipe coming? Probably. I think we'll probably pop into it. Those streams always, I'm pleasantly surprised. They always do pretty well. And the audience, like I will say, when you're criticizing Star Citizen, the audience and the people that come into your videos are pretty toxic. I'll be real. But when you are just having a good time and just playing, it's actually a really solid community. So I don't know what it is about the negative videos that just attracts like the scum of the earth, but I've noticed that is a big issue. And I think it's part of the reason that Star Citizen has the negative opinion, or it has the negative like PR that it does. And it's just because people have either been exposed to the simps who hype it up and love it and are really, really like sycophantically obsessed with it, or they've been exposed to like the mean kind of evil people who will like make death threats if you say anything bad about the game. But those are both extremes on the spectrum. The people we had in chat when we streamed it were in the middle for the most part. The overwhelming majority of the people we had in chat were in the middle. And we're just like, yeah, no, I think the game's really fun. I have been following it for years and years, but I really love it. And this is why I love it. And then like we would make fun of them for spending hundreds of dollars on ships. And they're like, yeah, I know it's stupid, but this is like the only game I play. And it's kind of like my hobby. Some people buy Warhammer figurines and paint them. Some people go and they buy like all sorts of golfing clubs and equipment and they go golfing. For me, I buy ships and I play Star Citizen. And honestly, as long as they're self-aware, you're cool. And the biggest thing is like, you know what, if you have the expendable income and you want to do that, okay, whatever. Like we all know that one guy who spends like $100+ on cosmetics in every game they bump into. Like, you know, Overwatch, they're immediately buying skins. They drop into GTA Online, they buy a ton of stuff and shark cards, and then they go in and they try Apex and they buy all the packs. You know, we all have friends that do that. yeah, tight. And some people buy cigarettes. At least Star Citizen is better than cigarettes. That's another design we have coming, by the way, is the Star Citizens on the pack of cigarettes. That's another one we're coming out with. I'm so excited. That's going to be a very niche one. Not many people will get that, but it's going to be great. Why isn't anyone talking about Horizon Forbidden West for Game of the Year? I think, John, that's a very good question. And it betrays, I think, the true feeling that a lot of people have about Star Citizen. And that is, or about Forbidden West. And that is that the game reviews well because it is very, I don't know, I mean, it's eye-catching and it records well, it's pretty. But in terms of like actual consideration, I don't think people take it super seriously. It's just not, I don't find it that breathtaking. Hate to be that guy. But I mean, it's the same thing. Like nobody's talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 as a serious contender. Sorry, guys. Like, I'm just being real. Like, nobody's actually talking like this is going to win it. The only real considerations are probably between Elden Ring and God of War. If they want to, like, set the internet on fire, give it to, like, Plague Tale or Xenoblade, and everybody will lose their minds. Stray, you'll have a lot of cat people and PlayStation fanboys and girls that are really excited by that. I thought Stray was cute. I apparently broke some unspoken rule of the internet when I suggested that you get it for free through PlayStation Plus because it was available for free through there. And I said, yeah, you should get it for free if you can, because this game is like 3 hours long and it's ridiculous to pay like $20-30 for a game that's 3 hours long, especially one that's like so mindless as this one. And you would have thought that I posted a video of me murdering a gorilla outside of a Dairy Queen. Like, everybody lost their minds. I was like, I did not think that that was a controversial thing to say, but apparently that was not okay. Sorry. But yeah, it's not being taken very seriously. That's oddly specifically. No, it's not. Probably for the gorilla cup. Oh God. I don't know. Everything about Forbidden West and all of these Horizon games, I see the trailers, I see the gameplay footage, I see all of that, and I'm like, this looks badass. And then I get in it, and it just feels generic and bland, and like they play it super safe. And in my critique, I go through all the problems I have with the story of Forbidden West, like the fact that Aloy, they're terrified of giving her any sort of like vulnerability at all. They just don't want her to seem like a real human being. And it's weird. And they, even to the extent where they bring in a clone, and the clone then has all of the worries and concerns that Aloy's supposed to have. Like, it's just weird. It's weird. It's like if in The Last of Us, you're like, oh, well, so Joel's daughter died in his arms. Very tragic. Thank you, Salvador. Again, £2. Very generous. Thank you. I'll let it play. Oh, it's under £2. That's why it didn't play. Yes, the Yakuza games are on Game Pass. I have downloaded them. I will be working through them slowly over the next few weeks. It is on my to-do list. But all of this would be like if in The Last of Us, it's like, okay, Joel's daughter died. He's very sad about it, right? It's tragic. It's tragic. And then they're like, well, Joel is a badass. He can't be sad. That's weird. So we're going to bring in his identical brother. And he's going to meet his identical brother on a bridge. And his identical brother will be really sad that he lost his daughter. Even though his daughter is not his identical brother's daughter, it's actually his niece. But he's going to be really upset about it so that we can see what that anguish looks like. And the guy in the background is like, but, like, what if we just had the guy who's the father of the little girl sad about it? You shut your damn mouth. Joel is a powerful, empowered, brave character. He's not going to be sad about stuff, especially not over the course of an entire game. That's what his identical brother is for. It would be stupid, but that's what they did with Forbidden West. They're like, oh, well, all the insecurities. I can't do this. They just like, oh, well, we'll just have her clone do it. Yeah, that'll be fine. Because God knows Aloy can't have any vulnerabilities. She has to be the most strong, stunning, brave, and beautiful character on the planet. It's just like so dumb. Every time I boot it up, I'm just like, she is painfully unlikable. And it's just not interesting. Like, it just isn't. And I hate it because, like, the first time I tried to call it out, people like accused me of being like, oh, so you don't like a game with a female protagonist unless she's like falling apart and crying all the time. And I was like, no, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you're going to put a character into a situation where bad things happen and where she has emotional stresses and things, you have to write her with human emotions. This isn't about being male or female or a strong female or a strong male. This is about being a human being. And guess what? When somebody has something terrible happen to them, or when they're tasked with saving the world, but they have no idea how they're supposed to do that, guess what? There's some emotional baggage and impact from that event. And games with good writing reflect that. The Last of Us reflects that perfectly with Ellie. She's one of the best characters, full stop, much less female characters, but she's one of the best characters in all of gaming. And guess what? She's vulnerable. She has concerns, worries, anxieties. And she overcomes those to become a better character. But then Aloy comes along and is like, me shoot robot with bow and arrow. Me whack with stick. Me not sad, clone stupid for being sad.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling. She's like Cartman's girlfriend in South Park. She's funny and smart. Get over it. Wow, Wendy, that strangely, Wendy was not that funny. That's weird. Wendy, women are funny. Get over it. Sit down. Dude, I freaking love South Park. She was vulnerable in the first game. I agree. I think the writing in the first game was markedly better than in this game. In this game, they kill off some of the B cast, like the B tier cast. They kill one of them off, and I was like, okay, finally we had some vulnerability here. And then it lasts for a cutscene, and then she walks away, and it's like never referenced again. It's hilarious. Yes, Distant Ocean, I did actually download Judgment from Steam during the autumn sale, like last week, I think it was. So I also have Judgment. Good suggestion. Actions have consequences. It's what annoys people when they don't either be linear or have choices that count. Actions do have consequences. Speaking of South Park, it'd be cool if we got more info about the new game at the Game Awards or something. Love South Park so much. Oh, dude, for real. I freaking love South Park. I love it. When they do the big Casa Bonita reopening, I will be going. Maybe we'll vlog it, or I'll try to live stream it off my phone. We're going to like wait in line. We're going to go to the big reveal. I'm going to try to meet Trey Parker and Matt Stone. So like we're going to try to actually do it. Why is Elden Ring nominated for narrative? Because everybody pretends that it has a narrative. Like, I don't know. I think this just comes down to definitions for me. For me, is there a story? Is there world building within Elden Ring? Absolutely. Is it an interesting world? Absolutely. But I will say that I think a narrative, like, Alexa, what's the definition of narrative?
As a noun, narrative is usually defined as a story or account of events, experiences, or the like, whether true or fictitious. As an adjective, narrative is usually defined as consisting of or being a narrative. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for narrative.
A story or an account of events. I think that's solid. Elden Ring doesn't really give you an account of events. You can't hear her? Oh, well, oops. Elden Ring doesn't really give you an account of events in the same way that, like, God of War or Plague Tale or even Horizon, I don't know, Immortality, I'll be real, but it doesn't give you an account of events in the same way. You can go around and find like lore items and things and piece the story together that way. But there's not like, I feel like I'm explaining this to a toddler. Like it's just not the same thing. Elden Ring is an action RPG, one of the best ever made. But it is not a narrative game. You're not playing it for the story. Like, you're just not. And inevitably, you get the simps who come in and will be like, well, Elden Ring does have a narrative, but it's hidden very secretly within the world because it's so brilliantly put together that you have to seek out the narrative and find it in all of the nooks and crannies of the game's design. So it's actually way more impressive than any of these other games that just, shovel the story straight into your face. I'm like, okay, cool. But if you're going to seriously look me dead in the eye and assert that Elden Ring is just as much of a narrative game and focuses on the narrative just as much as any of these other games, like, I'm going to laugh you out. Like, come on. Come on. Dubsta, thank you so much. Dead ass. And the story, the George R.R. Martin, I did see somebody on Twitter doing that where they're like, well, it does have a great story. I mean, after all, it was written by George R.R. Martin. I was like, can you find one thing that was written by George R.R. Martin in Elden Ring? Honestly, I'm shocked that didn't get more. Okay, I'm not shocked at all. I wish it would have gotten more news and headlines, specifically like, what the hell did he do? Because like he said, he pulled people off of the production of the last season of Game of Thrones to work on Elden Ring. So everybody's like waiting for all sorts of intrigue and dialogue and interesting character plot points and stuff. And it's just not there. Like, no part of this feels like George R. R. Martin was involved. It all feels like more Hidetaka Miyazaki, which is great. He's good too. That's why they wanted to work together. But even after the game launched, I haven't heard anybody go and say like, oh, well, yeah, this is what he worked on. Crimson, Elden Ring's narrative is as deep as other games. You see the basic plot is really deep and amazing, and amazing. Cool Ring is broken. Cool Ring is broken. People involved. The Cool Ring is broken. Many people want to fix Ring. Many characters want power. Some people corrupted by power they already have. You go and kill people. Like, again, I think really if you ask and you did a survey of like just the average Elden Ring player, I think you would be looking at probably like 95+% who couldn't give you an explanation of the story more comprehensive than just, yeah, there was a ring and it broke. It was the Elden Ring and it was hammered by like a big guy with long hair. And then at the end of the game, there's like a space jelly bean monster. Like, I really think that that's all people would be able to tell you. And just that shit, like, okay, well, is the narrative bad then? If people can't even describe it? Like, if your game is built around something, or if your game has an element and people can't even give you more than a few words as a description of it, I don't think you were successful in that element of the game. Or at the very least, it wasn't a priority, which is my whole point. Elden Ring is not a narrative game. It's there if you want the lore, but it's not a narrative game. You know? So, like, I don't have a problem with the fact that people can't describe the story to you. I think that that's exactly what you would expect if it's not a priority and if it's an action RPG. But if you're going to come here and, like, with a straight face try to argue that it actually has a really compelling narrative that's really good and solid, but the average gamer that played the game in its entirety can't even begin to slightly describe what the story's about, I don't think it succeeded. Like, there's problems. Rocky, thanks for coming out. Thanks for helping. Get some sleep, my friend. Yeah, so Brian, I do agree he helped with the lore. My understanding, I watched an interview, my understanding is George R. R. Martin, he went in, he met with Hidetaka Miyazaki a few times. They worked on like broad strokes ideas. He wrote kind of the themes with the big tree and then the rings, or the ring, and then some of the ideas between relationships between characters that would eventually become bosses and things. So he was like involved in broad strokes, but the issue was, I think a lot of people saw a collaboration between George R. R. Martin and Hidetaka Miyazaki, and they just expected more George R. R. Martin, because no part, like if you didn't know George R. R. Martin was involved in this game, you would not think that a world-renowned author was involved, because it's just, that's not what this game is really about. Groovy. Love it. Oh yes, everybody, thank you. Kiza, please like the stream to support Luke. If you do not like it, Nadia will still hack your appliances and kill your family. Yeah, but it will be a frame glitch. It will be. Yes. Please do like the stream, everybody. It does help. According to Google, George R. R. Martin wrote the background history of the characters and what powers they had. No further research needed. Yeah, no, exactly. Like he was involved in like the broad strokes ideation behind the initial lore, and then that was kind of it. But again, I think if you look back at the pre-release trailers and interviews and stuff, even that he gave, where like he said openly, oh yeah, no, we took writers, I remember this specifically, he took staff off of the production of the last season of Game of Thrones to work on Elden Ring. And that like obviously set expectations pretty high. But all of this to say, like I said, I think this just comes down to definitional differences. If you're talking about lore and world building as part of narrative, best narrative, then yeah, I think Elden Ring should be nominated. The lore and world building absolutely is tremendous in Elden Ring. It's fascinating. But I tend to define narrative as the story, the set of events that tells a single story with characters, character arcs, development, that type of thing. And as far as a story is concerned, I don't think Elden Ring should be nominated. So it just comes down to how you define narrative. They say outstanding storytelling and narrative development. I would say, like, as a storytelling game, I would say Elden Ring is not, that's not what it's for. And I wouldn't say it's a good storytelling game, but that's not what it is. Like, that's what I would say. Anyway. The last season of Game of Thrones was trash, and he took them people because he knew it was going to be Well, I heard something like he had two ideas for the ending. Like, he had the one idea for how he's going to end it, and then another. They used one idea for the ending of the show, and it was widely regarded as like one of the worst endings of a TV series ever. And so he's going to go with the other version for the ending of the book. But I think at this point, he probably didn't. I mean, honestly, he probably didn't have a second idea. So he's like, now, okay, I got to figure out how to save this. He's like, I had no idea. That's kind of what I expect. But other games, best indie game. Cult of the Lamb is great. I have had technical issues with it, but playing it on Steam Deck is awesome. Sifu is also tremendous. Stray, people love it. Tunic, I've heard really good things about. Haven't played Neon White. If I had to pick, I'd probably give it Cult of the Lamb. It's super weird and fun. It's just quirky. Other games, best role-playing. If we're including action role-playing, I think you got to give it to Elden Ring. Triangle Strategy, I wanted to try this, but I never played it. Octopath Traveler was great, though. Love that. Most anticipated game, I think it's got to go Hogwarts Legacy. I think, realistically, I think you could see Hogwarts Legacy, Starfield, or Zelda winning. Either of these three. I don't think RE4 or Final Fantasy really stands a chance in comparison. But Hogwarts Legacy is crazy hyped. Action adventure game. Plague Tale, God of War, Forbidden West, Stray, Tunic. I'm guessing God of War takes it. Best action game. Are they really not including Elden Ring? Okay, that's weird. That's bold. They'll probably give it to Call of Duty, but I would probably give it to Sifu. What other ones? Best ongoing, best performance. I kind of hope Christopher Judge gets it. Oh, he's so old now. What happened? He was just a little boy. Oh, it's so weird. But I thought, like, him losing out to Roger Clark for Arthur Morgan in Red Dead 2 back in 2018, that was a very close race. I mean, both performers are tremendous. Both performers are great. You know, they're both amazing, but Roger Clark took it. I think Christopher Judge, though. I mean, it's so great. He's single-handedly took on this iconic role and has been involved in the reboot and saving of the franchise. And he's great. Like, in Ragnarok, he has a lot more nuance to his performance. It's great. He took it up a notch. I mean, I'm man enough to admit I cried when Arthur died. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody died, let's be real. Ashley Birch. Again, she's a talented actress. I do not think that she... I don't think Aloy was very impressive at all in Forbidden West, so I think that kind of disqualifies her. Charlotte McBurney, who played Amicia in Plague Tale Requiem. She's also tremendous. She did a great job in that game. I think this is a fair nomination. She's great. Again, I haven't played Immortality. Very sorry, so I'm not familiar with Manon Gage. And then Sonny Suljic is also great. He did a fantastic job. And he's got a much bigger role in this game than he had in the last one. So it's cool to see them both nominated. But either one of these, I would love to see it go to either Chris or Sonny. Let's see. Other games, game direction. This is always a really difficult one to define. There we go. Because, like, outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction. Innovation's the tricky thing, because which of these games really did something different and new. I don't know. Stray is a typical like puzzle platformer kind of thing, and I find it to be pretty underwhelming. I like the atmosphere, and I think you could give it a nomination just for that, but I almost would give that more to like the narrative design, or world building design, if we're including world building and narrative. Forbidden West didn't really do anything different. In fact, I thought Forbidden West made a lot of really bizarre and extremely stupid design choices. So I don't like that. God of War Ragnarok, like I said, I think directorially this game is breathtaking. Narratively, there's so many little details that they took into consideration. Like I said, even something as simple as like when Kratos hits Thor with the axe, he gets a cut on his belly. That cut stays on Thor's belly for the rest of the game. Even though Aesir gods are supposedly able to just heal and kind of command it and will it, that cut doesn't heal. That's for a very specific narrative reason that they set up 4 years ago in a small sequence, blink and you'll miss it, in God of War 2018. There's so many little details present. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then Elden Ring is also like, there's no way to beat around the bush. I mean, directorially, it's consistent. They had the vision to put this thing together, and it works. And if you think like, oh, it's just Dark Souls 3, but open world, it's a lot trickier to pull something off like this than it may seem. And any game that you can just like pop in and kind of veg out to over the course of 100 hours, like that's pretty amazing. So why does Thor still have the cut? Hold on. Let me see if I can find the clip. I'm going to show you something. This is going to be in the critique, but I'm going to show you why. You guys are about to get a lesson. Get learnt. Hold on. I'm scrubbing. I'm looking for a very specific clip. Here it is. So you remember God of War 2018. You throw the axe into the Lake of Nine. And don't worry, I'm not going to show a clip of God of War Ragnarok. Don't worry. But you're going to throw the axe into the Lake of Nine. And this is because on the sign, I think it was Thor's statue, it says, surrender your arms to the waters or to the sea or whatever. So he throws his axe into the water. And then out of nowhere comes Jormungandr, the world serpent. And he starts talking to you. But first, he spits out the axe. You might not have noticed this. I didn't notice it when I was playing this game back again. In like a few months ago in preparation for God of War Ragnarok. But look at this. Axe drops. Pause. Aether imbued. And then it's gone. That's the only time in God of War 2018 that is referenced. That solid like 1 second little bit. Because look, he spits it out. Let's count out loud. 1, 2, 3. 3 seconds it sits on screen. What is Aether? Good question. I'm glad you asked. If we go over here, Aether, and we go to Wikipedia, Aether in Old Norse translates to poison. More specifically, Aether is known to be produced by snakes, and it is known to have been blown by Jormungandr during Ragnarok, leading to the death of Thor. So this very specific poison that comes from Jormungandr, the world serpent, is specifically has an effect on Thor during the events of Ragnarok. So they took that little bit 4 years ago, and then they tie it back in to this one event. Because you'll see Thor takes an axe to the gut in the boss fight, and that cut stays on him for the whole rest of the game. And I saw it, I was like, what? Why? Like, that seems so weird, because all of the other bosses can just kind of squeeze and clench and then they heal themselves. But it's not a mistake. Like, it's because they set this up 4 years ago. So when I talk about good directing, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that attention to detail that just takes the whole thing up a notch. Like, yes, Elden Ring has some great direction too, but that level of attention to detail to set something up 4 years ago that's 3 seconds long in the game. Very few people noticed it. And then it ties back into this. It's so cool to me. I love it. But who blew the horn? Well, yeah, exactly. Who blew the horn? If you bear down like you have to poop, it'll heal all wounds. Yeah, that's what I learned from God of War. I'm gonna get in a car accident. I'm just gonna oh, I shit myself. Has anyone noticed how Atreus is holding Odin in his lap exactly how Atreus is holding yeah. Dead ass. Now I want to tell everyone. Yeah, it's these little details that I just think take the game up. And like, there's little bits like that in The Last of Us Part 2 where like, oh, that's cool. Like, it's one of the reasons I actually like, no cap, dead ass. I like the plot points in The Last of Us Part 2 where like you go back through the story again from a different perspective, and then you see all the little things. Like, you'll hear a character mention something that the other character was doing, or like when you go through playing as Ellie, you'll hear the characters talk honestly about a character, and then when you go through as Abby through that same section, the character that Ellie heard talking honestly will lie to Abby or to another character of what they think of something. And it's just the writing is so good and carefully thought out. But moments like that just make this, it makes it so freaking good. If you clench, you'll either heal or pop a hernia. Yeah. Director said before there would be no God of War Part 3. Do you think at least we'll get any DLC? No, I don't think we'll get any DLC. They said this is the end of the Norse trilogy, or saga, not trilogy, but the end of the Norse saga. So whatever they do next, it's going to be a while. I'll talk about it in the critique. I don't, as far as I can tell, there aren't any clear references to what the next game will be. And I think it's because they don't know and they don't want to pigeonhole themselves. We know they're working on another IP, something original. So that's going to come out next. And that's probably 4 years out. I would guess 4 or 5 years out. It's just something original and different. And so we're probably not going to see anything about God of War for another 5-6 years, I would guess. But when we do, it's probably going to be like ancient Egypt or something like that. I think at this point, everybody expects ancient Egypt. So they probably are expecting that, and they might subvert expectations and do like, it's ancient Egypt, but you're also going to go to like explore the Aztecs or something. I have no idea. Maybe Roman. I just think that's too close. I know it's cringe to people who are history buffs, but I think for the mass public, that's too similar to Greece. He's gonna fight Jesus. I was telling my old college buddies, I was like, dude, one day, maybe in 20 years, we're gonna get a God of War where you fight like the Catholic hierarchy of different like saints and everything. So you go and you fight, the angel Gabriel, and you beat his head, and then you go off and you have a fist fight with Jesus, and then the Holy Spirit is a boss fight. Like, you fight in the Pope, all different popes throughout the ages. That would be a pretty solid game. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Yeah, and then there's a whole plot point, like a whole side quest where it's just hunt the pedos, and you're just going around finding priests throughout the map, and you just beat the ever-living crap out of them. Honestly, it'd be pretty funny. Kratos versus Jack Black's Brutal Legend. I would actually, you know what? God of War meets Brutal Legend, and you go and you fight like the lords of rock and roll. That would be awesome. I'd be down for that. Yeah, AC basically did that. Yeah, kind of. Kratos kills Jesus, but then he comes back 3 days later. Yeah, exactly. It's a big boss fight, but then 3 in-game days later, Jesus is like, I'm back, bitch. Oh, that would be amazing. Let's see. I have so many random, nonsensical. Oh damn! They rejected my appeal. They're keeping age restrictions on that God of War video for no reason. I don't know, man. That's so weird. So stupid. God of Star Wars. Oh, they could do Star Wars. That could work. That could work. Kratos would hate Christian mythology. The whole thing would be very, very funny. Or like you could do Mormonism or something. Just go and fight Joseph Smith. It could be funny. Mormons wouldn't care. Like the Christian evangelicals in America would very much care if you did like a Catholic themed, even if it's Catholic, they would very much care about that, because like, no, you're not going to beat up Jesus in a video game. They'd freak out. But Mormons will smother you with kindness. They'd be like, oh, well, that's pretty silly, you know. Maybe don't do that, but whatever. Like that, you want some brownies? You know, Mormons are the sweetest people on earth. It'll focus more on Atreus. I don't know, Corey. It might, or they might just go totally. Like they might just go back to Kratos. I don't know. They could go either way. I just think like God of War, it's so much about Kratos. And they've said some stuff where they said like, yeah, no, Kratos is God of War. Like you can't have one without the other. And that's kind of what made me think, okay, well, they're probably not going to kill off Kratos in Ragnarok just because they set that up. You know, they said, look, and they're not going to end the franchise unless they do like prequels and stuff. But it's probably why they want to take 6-7 years in between, and they want to be like, okay, let's take a break, and then we'll revisit God of War in a few years after we've started on this IP, this new IP, and we're just going to try to evaluate it as level-headedly as we possibly can. And I think that's the way to do it. Because at this point, I really don't know what that next game should look like. God of Mischief game. Well, all we know... No, I'm not going to say that because that's a spoiler. But yeah, maybe. But I think they're done with the Norse plot line. And part of the issue with that is that they so closely tied Atreus into the world of the Norse mythology. So I don't think that there's an easy way to do it. Unless you set it up where like, Kratos, go save the other, like, there's another world that needs your help. That needs, like, its people are being slaughtered by their gods. They need your help to be freed. And then he's like, let's do it. It's Morbin time. And then he travels to Egypt and fights those gods. Who knows? They have time to come up with something, but it's going to be a long time, I think. Isn't going to do God of War for the next 20 years. They're going to return to it after this original IP, I think. They're still owned by Sony. Sony can go in there and say, you're making a God of War game next. I think they understand that they would rather have 2 successful IP than 1, and they know that just having 1 that you milk release after release after release, eventually you run out of steam and you need to shake it up a little and try something different. And I think that that's what they're doing with Horizon Forbidden West. They're abandoning Horizon for the time being, and they're going to go try to do something else. And with God of War, I think they're going to do the same thing and put it on ice for a little bit. As long as Mimir is there. Yeah, Mimir is one I would really be bummed if they took him away. But Mimir is also so closely tied to Norse mythology. I don't think that you could bring him to Egypt. I don't think it makes sense. Maybe they will, but because he's the man, the smartest man alive. So maybe they do bring him and he understands the world of ancient Egypt or mythical Egypt or whatever. Maybe that works, but I think it's a stretch. Would be cool to see him interact. Well, and Renier, he does say like that he has knowledge of the Spartan world and he knows of the land that Kratos came from and he's heard of some of the stories and things. So he's aware of other mythologies. He's aware of other worlds and lands. So I think he could go. It's just a question of whether they want to bring that along or if they want to just start from scratch. I think at this point it feels like such a natural fit to just have the constant companion of Mimir that it would be kind of stupid not to bring him, but you know, who knows? Kratos versus the Scorpion King. Yeah, that'd be great. Get Dwayne. Egypt is close enough to Greek that it'll be familiar yet far enough away or yet different enough to be new. Yeah, I think just visually also, Egypt is so different from Norse and Greece structures and architecture and art styles that I think it works. Because Greece was, of course, Mediterranean, and then you had the Norse stuff, which is, of course, mostly mountainous and snowy. And then you have Egypt, which is in large part desert, and then you have the lush areas within the Nile, but you have that contrast. So I think Egypt is the clear front runner. They could go and they could try to go to like China or Japan or something and shake it up that way, but I think Egypt probably is what they do. I think Christopher Judge will stay. I have to imagine he's getting a pretty fat stack from this. I would hope he is. He is, because he's great. Jin Sakai versus Kratos. Oh, that'd be great. Germanic gods, yeah, but they're more niche, and a lot of them were absorbed into other surrounding belief systems. Because it's not just like, okay, yeah, there's like Russian, like old school pagan gods from Russia or Eastern Europe and things. So like we can find really obscure things like that. But I think players want to play something and fight against gods they're familiar with, at least slightly. And that's why I think ancient Egypt works, because, oh, you fight Anubis, and then there's different, like, you know, the pharaohs are gods, so the pharaohs each have their own impact, and there could be interesting things you could do there. I would like to see their interpretation of Egyptian gods, as they make gods less godly usually. Yeah, well, that's one of the things I really liked about Ragnarok, is that they took these like huge characters like Thor and Odin, and then they make them very human, and they focus on the human traits, which I thought was a really good way of doing it. Initially, you guys remember I was talking on stream, I was like, it's kind of underwhelming seeing like the leaked design of Odin that we got before the game launched, and I was like, I don't know, it just doesn't look that epic or cool. And I'm hoping that this game is epic. But then I played the game and I was like, I loved what they did with it. That was way better than I thought it was going to be. They pulled that off. Yeah, no, John, I agree. I think this is the last for a while. Like, realistically, even if they are making this original IP and then they're not going to get to that for, like, the next game until after, he's probably not going to start shooting for 4 to 5 years. Whereas this game, he probably started right after the last one. So he's going to get a good long break. Kratos versus Dorito Pope. Yeah, and then the DLC fight is against Kojima. That could work. That could work. I could get with that. Well, people, like I said, we are in crunch trying to finish this God of War critique. It's coming along, but it's there's a lot to do. So we're wrapping that up. So I'm gonna go get to work on that. If you want some merch, I have the link pinned in the top of the chat, LukeStevensTV.com. We have all of these items, like the 16 times the detail mug, one of my personal favorites, along with all the shirts and hoodies and embroidered beanies and all sorts of stuff. So if you want to represent, go check that out. It's not publicly announced yet, so you guys are seeing it early, but you know, I like you guys. And also the website's fun because you can like click on these things and it generates pixels. I know this is really stupid, but I have way too much fun doing this. It doesn't look this pixelated, by the way, when you're on the website. It's just because Streamlabs is like, what the hell are all these little lines? They're just freaking out. So check it out if you want to see it. Again, link is pinned at the top of chat. We deliver outside the US. Yep, they have distribution centers, or we have distribution centers not just in the US but also Australia and the EU. So wherever you are, we can get it to you fast and with without crazy like import tariffs and stuff. So go check it out. Go check it out. And we have lots more stuff coming as well. Thanks for all of you and your mods. Do lovely to have Kutch online. That was the longest 5 minutes ever. Yeah. Well, I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for chilling with me. I appreciate you. We're going to finish this critique. She going to be a big boy. I'm very excited for you to see it, though. I haven't been this pumped to finish a video and to get this out in a while. So we'll see it. Bought a hat, excited. Awesome, Billy. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hopefully you enjoy it. Much love, everybody. I will see you in the next stream. Or the next video, whichever drops first. Hopefully it's God of War. It might be a different video on Friday just to plug it. But we're going to see. Much love. I'll see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.